Hey everyone, so it has officially been 1 year that we have been traveling and living in an RV, and we are really super excited. It's actually a little late for me making this video, but it was on September 9th that we officially became 1 year on the road and living in an RV. So it's really exciting and we're really pumped about it, and it flew by so fast and we learned so much so quickly, and a majority of it was just learned experiences. So I know some of you have seen our videos like last year when we started doing this, and so you went through some of the mistakes with us, but I thought it would be fun to make a video about all the stupid things that we have done and we have had to learn not to do. And so we did, just so everyone knows, we did indeed plan to live in an RV for 2 years. So, but what we didn't do is actual education on how an RV works. So we were planning the finances, we were planning what kind of rig we were gonna get, what kind would be best for our family, what kind of tow vehicle would be best, what kind of like living situation we wanted, and we ended up with just a 1-room RV that was 36 foot long instead of a place for the kids and then a place for us. So that kind of planning is what we did, instead of not necessarily, you know, what do you do with a black tank and all that jazz. So I will tell you and start with when we first bought our RV over a year ago. It was a 36 foot fifth wheel Coachman, and I can tell you that the people that we bought it off of were a good 8 years younger than us, and they were a married couple and also had children, and they wanted to be full-time, but then something happened in their family and they couldn't do it. So I don't know, it just ended up in our hands and it just worked out really well. We actually still keep in touch with them. So anyways, when we first bought it, we, like I said in previous videos, we had never been in an RV before. We'd never owned one. Our families had never owned one. So basically kind of clueless how an RV works, especially when you're towing it. So long story short, we ended up hitching it to our truck when we got on their property. It was in their backyard, so we hitched the younger guy helped hitch it to our truck, and yeah, we took off, and we knew to drive slowly and such because we were not experienced, and that was our first time driving at all. Now I have kind of grown up on a farm, so I've driven like tractors and all that big farm equipment, but it is still totally different from pulling a trailer. About a mile or so in, we ended up stopping, and because something didn't feel right, and the little plug that plugs into our truck, we kept trying to plug it back in to see if something was happening, and we plugged it in tightly, but nothing happened still. So we ended up driving it like that to the storage place, and that was about 50-ish miles without any brakes and without it being hooked up. So no turn signal, no brakes, no nothing. We were just basically pulling the trailer without any electrical connections or anything. So we did not have a clue that trailers had brakes. We didn't know how the turn signal and such worked. We didn't know any of that. And the guy who sold it to us did not tell us any of that. it was crazy. We took back roads. We made sure to drive very, very slowly because we had the same truck that we have now, and pulling that 36 foot, even so at stops, would push our truck when we would stop. So we drove very slowly. We got honked at, we got flipped off a lot, we got passed a lot, we got yelled at a lot, and it was just not safe. So that is one really, really major stupid thing that we did. All in all, we got to the place safely after driving super slow, and after talking to some people, realized that the connection from the trailer that goes into the truck needed to be cleaned off and then plugged in, and then it worked. And so we had talked to my husband's mother, and we were like, I just don't get how people drive these things. How do people drive these things? I don't know how we're gonna drive this across the country. It has no brakes and it pushes our truck. And she's like, well, doesn't it have trailer brakes? And we're like, trailer brakes? What are trailer brakes? So there's that story. And please do not make us feel bad for that. That happened well over a year, and we have, of course, way learned from that. And so it's in the past. So that is just one really stupid thing that we've done. And that's probably the number one stupidest thing that we've done. / dangerous. Don't ever do that. Trailers have brakes. Hook it to your truck. When we got that RV, we were trying to figure out how the awning worked, and we couldn't get it unlatched. And so this is while it was in storage, and we had tried to look up online on how to unlatch the awning and get it out, and just so we could see how it looked and everything. Well, we ended up getting it half out, and we yanked it, and it got stuck, and our 2 boys were in the RV while it got stuck, and so it covered both of the doors for them to get out, and they were stuck in the RV. So we ended up just getting a ladder and unscrewing the whole thing and taking the whole awning off. So, and just so everyone knows, that awning ended up being really moldy, and I guess it could have been cleaned, but it was in terrible shape. So taking it off was probably the best choice for us, but that was another stupid mistake because we had no clue how to actually undo an awning. So there's that. Another stupid mistake was when we bought the RV, we had no clue what to check for. We were just like, oh, cool, these people are nice, and they were gonna do the same thing that we did and we're gonna do, and they kind of fixed it up, and so we didn't know what to check for at all. We get it back to storage, and my husband is kind of really checking out stuff and spots a water spot in the corner of the boys' room, and he presses on it, and it's so soft his whole finger could go through. That ended up happening in the living room as well. So 2 major water damage areas in the RV, and it was so bad we ended up ripping out both of the walls in the RV and completely replacing them all. Then we had to patch the whole roof just to make sure that the leak had been stopped. So another stupid mistake, and that was because we were really uneducated on what to look for when we were buying an RV. Lesson learned on that. Major lesson learned. So, let's see. We had the rig, and we bought a surge protector. Everyone was like, make sure you buy a surge protector. It'll save your microwave and refrigerator and major electronics and all that stuff. So we bought the surge protector, and I get it, and we go to hook it up to the RV. Now this is still when it's in storage. We hadn't taken it out yet. So I go to hook it up to the surge protector to the RV just to see that everything's cool and it works and stuff. And the cord from the RV did not fit into the surge protector. So then I got really upset, and I was like, oh my goodness, we just spent $250 on a surge protector that is not the right one for our RV. And after all this research and taking pictures and throwing it online to the RV group that I'm a part of, who now knows me as the the girl who has constant problems with her RV. So they all already know me. And they're like, take a picture. And so I take a picture, and they're like, that's a 110 volt cord going into a 30 amp surge protector. So the person who had this trailer, he had switched out the cord so it hooked up to a house and not a 30 amp like trailer park or a campsite. So we had to get a professional electrician who knew a little bit and to switch that out back to the 30 amp cord. So I got a real lesson learned on amps and electrical stuff, just all right there. The RV needed a new battery, so we ended up buying a new battery. We hooked it up. This is still while it's in storage. And we got to turn on the lights, made sure the radio worked, and everything was fine. And we left it there. We left the battery plugged into the RV for about a week. We came back, battery dead. So we got another lesson learned on what not to do when your RV is in storage. When it's in storage, you disconnect the battery because it will kill your battery. I don't necessarily know if we had anything running or not. I can't remember, but anyways, the battery was dead. We had to get a new battery, and then once we got the new battery, we plugged it in just to make sure that everything was okay, and then we left it unplugged until we went on our first camping trip. Now this is onto our Maiden Voyage, which is our first place that we went to was a music festival in Illinois, and it was only about an hour and a half from where we lived, so it wasn't that far, yet it was far enough. And well, everything kind of went wrong. Our jacks didn't work, and the guy that sold it to us said that the electrical jacks had never worked since he had bought it, and he had only had it for a couple months. So we got it from them, and we just used the manual, which I can tell you the manual was manual, and it hurt our arms. We both had to take turns on and off to get the jacks up and down. So we go to put this on our truck, and the jacks end up not working whenever we go to bring them up. So the trailer is already on our truck, and it's connected and hitched and everything, but we can't get the jacks up. It, like, the manual jack thing breaks halfway up. So I don't exactly remember how we ended up like rigging it, but we got it to where it was up safe enough off of the road so that we could drive it to the music festival. I don't even know why we went. We get to the music festival, and our jacks do not go down because the manual jack thing is broken. So we have a lot of friends there, and people help us out, and they get their jacks, and they put it under, and our RV lift it up off of our truck, and then use our own jacks. So that was a mess. But anyways, we had no clue how stuff worked in the RV. We didn't know about the holding tanks, that they needed to be hooked up to a sewer hose. And I know that sounds like absolutely ridiculous, but we were super new about this whole thing, and we had no one to teach us anything about this stuff, and we didn't do our research exactly on how an RV works. So we were using it for like a day or two, and the gray tank had already filled up, and we didn't know it, but the gray tank ended up flowing through our bathtub. So we thought the gray tank, or we thought that there was something wrong with our tub. We couldn't figure out what was wrong. So we ended up going to a hardware store, and we bought a plunger. So like idiots, if anyone had owned an RV, came in there and saw us doing that, we were plunging the tub, not joking. So that didn't work. I ended up getting back on this RV group that I'm a part of, and I'm like, I know I've been on here a million times, but there is water in our tub, and for the life of me, I cannot figure out how to get it out. We plunged it and everything. Of course, there was like a few laughs and everything, but people were like, just pull the gray tank, and you'll be able to have all the water get out. That's just your gray water. So we get out there, and we take pliers and we try to unscrew it. So we're out there like idiots unscrewing the gray tank instead of pulling it. So we're out there, and like my husband's arm's hurting. He's just like, this thing is taking forever to unscrew. This is forever. Are you sure this is right? And I said, that's what they said. And so anyways, we ended up figuring out to take the pliers and just pull it down. The gray tank did not have the T stick on it, so it was just a stick with the screw part that had the missing T. So we had no idea. We pulled that, and immediately it was a release, and you could like hear all the water going out. So we ended up buying a T stick that was only about 25 cents at like Home Depot. But lesson learned there. We've looked like idiots more than once in the beginning of our RV life. So besides that whole tub thing, when we connected our water, when we got to the music festival, I know a lot of you may not have seen our previous videos, but we had a composting toilet. So we took out the old toilet, and because we just did not want to deal with the black tank, and we figured since we're already pretty green and try to live like that, that composting toilet would best suit our lifestyle and just what we wanted to do. So we took out the toilet, we put that in, and so that was all fine. Composting toilet was working great. And we get to the music festival, connect the water, and water shoots up out of where the toilet hose would have been. And so we're flipping out, and we're like, shut the water off! And so the water gets shut off, and we didn't know we needed to put a cap on that little water hose that would be connected to a regular RV toilet. So that was a mess, but a lesson learned. Let's see. Our friend Jax actually at the music festival ended up getting looked at by not an RVer, but a friend of ours. He's good with electronics kind of thing. And so he looked at it and he's like, yeah, it's just a blown fuse. And I'm like, seriously, a blown fuse? So we go to the store and get the fuse, and he connects it, and the electric jacks work just fine. So it just goes to show like how little we really knew. Let's see. We had flipped on the switch for our hot water at the music festival, and it didn't work. We would like flip it on and immediately expect hot water. So we were like, great, our hot water heater is totally broken. So we lesson learned on that. We ended up getting that looked at, and yeah, we were just idiots. Let's see. I guess this will, I'll move on to our actual maiden voyage. So this is, we're back and we're going to Kansas to be actual full-time RVers. We had gotten rid of our house. We had burned our hands on the lights a couple times because we didn't realize how hot they got. And so we had to, our kids learned really fast never to touch the lights. And we have not replaced our lights in this one, but we will be going to LED whenever I can get a hold of some. But the first night that we left, we didn't even end up getting that far. We got maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from where we lived. And it was really cold. For some reason, it was just really cold that night. And so my husband ended up sleeping up in the room with the boys, and all three of them are cuddling under like 3 blankets, and I'm sleeping on the couch, and I am freezing. like so cold. We all just wake up really cold. I mean, the boys all had each other's body heat, plus they had a majority of the blankets. I made sure that they were covered, but like I was like ice when I woke up. And then for some reason we ended up going to breakfast. I don't even know what the deal is, but I flip on the propane tank or the heater and heat starts coming out, and I'm like, we are idiots. We could have had heat that entire night, but we froze our butts off because we had no clue that we could use the heater while it's not connected. We thought we could only use the heater while it was connected, like the electrical. So lesson learned on that, as well as lesson learned on not having an extra heat source that would be able to help us stay warm. So also when we came back from breakfast, I tried to unlock the door and the key broke off in the door. I mean, it was a fabulous first day getting out and being a full-time RVer. So we had no idea what to do. Thankfully, all of our tools were in the basement, and so we tried to unscrew an entire window, and I think it was the bathroom, but that didn't end up working because I don't remember exactly why that didn't end up working. It was just not gonna work. So I don't even know, it was like a good 20 minutes after we had tried everything, and we went back and we tried the second door. The second door we never used because it had jammed shut. So that we had tried it and didn't work, and so we never even used it. But we went to go try it again this morning and it opened, and we were like, thank you, Jesus. Holy cow. That would have just been awful to call a key guy. This is our first day of being a full-time family. We don't really know what we're doing, and our key broke off in the door, kind of thing. Let's see. This is like a long list of really stupid things. So I hope that you guys, one, never do any of this stuff, and two, realize how much there really is to learn if you're not at all educated. Anyways, we get to the RV spot and our fridge didn't work like the whole time. We didn't know what to do really about the refrigerator situation because the refrigerator we had just replaced. The fridge that came with it was a residential refrigerator, and it had molded really bad. The previous owners, the people that we bought it from, had left food in there after they were done camping, so it molded the whole inside and the rim, and there was just no cleaning it. I wasn't even going to deal with it. I didn't want my kids around it, so we pulled it out, chucked it, and got a new one and installed that, but it didn't work, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. The guy that we had bought it from assured us that it worked. So we just kind of took his word for it and bought it from him, and it was a good price. I think it was $300. So anyways, like after my husband had started working Amazon last year, we got a couple checks saved up, and we called an RV repair guy who was like an hour and a half from us. That was the closest, so he had to travel all the way to us to do that. But thankfully, a lot of other people in the camp needed help too, so he just waited for a day when he had a lot of repairs to do and came at one time and just like took turns going around to everyone's RVs helping them fix stuff. Anyways, that whole situation ended up being a fuse. A fuse, once again, had been the issue, and it is such a minor thing like that. I wish we would have known, but yeah, he just replaced a fuse and the refrigerator started working. And so that was when we asked him about the hot water. We're like, the hot water heater does not work. And so he had flipped it on and then worked on the fridge a little bit, and he's like, now try it, you should have hot water. And we tried it and we're like, we have hot water, how the heck did that work? And he goes, well, you just gotta wait for it to get hot. And so yeah, I feel like this is like 10 years ago for some reason. But so that happened, and we paid more than we wanted to for that visit, but kind of had to. So the stove, we actually didn't use the stove for quite some time. Quite some time. I had no idea how to use the stove. I had tried to turn it on and nothing happened. I would just smell propane and nothing happened. So I ended up making friends with some of the other people in the RV park who thankfully did not judge me. But I was like, I can't even use my stove because mine doesn't work. And they're like, well, what does it do when you light it? And I'm like, light it? I don't know. I've never tried to light it. And they're like, yeah, you have to stick a lighter in there every single time. And so I went home and tried it, and it worked. So I felt like an idiot, but thankfully those people did not make me feel stupid. That weekend, or that trip, it ended up getting really cold really fast. So we had ordered one of those electric heating hoses, and oddly it just took forever for them to send it to us. It was like almost 2 weeks for it to get sent to us, and this is from Amazon, which was like 30 miles down the road. So I know it probably didn't come from there. It came from a different state, which was ridiculous. But before it got to us, our hose ended up freezing, our regular one, and we couldn't get any water, and I didn't understand what happened. So I went outside, and the hose was just completely frozen. I had no idea that you had to leave your water trickling or just shut off your water in general at night. Keep your cabinets open to keep heat circulating underneath there so that your water lines would stay warm. We had no idea about any of that stuff, but learned a very hard lesson. So it was so frozen I couldn't even detach it from the RV. So I stuck some heaters underneath our rig and finally got it detached. I took the water hose inside and it melted, and I just dumped it into the tub. And what ended up happening for a while was we would only use the water hose during the day, and then at night we would detach the hose and bring it in and just put it in our tub until we got the heated hose. But the only reason that we even knew about the heated hose was because that was one of the rules at the campground, was that you have to have your hose wrapped or you have to have a heated hose, because they don't allow regular hoses after a certain point in the year because it could freeze the line. So that was a lesson learned there. We have tripped the breaker numerous times in our old rig, numerous times, and really got a lesson learned on wattage usage and electricity and all that stuff. Now in this new rig, I think I've only tripped it like maybe once or twice, and that was when I had the air conditioner running and I was cooking stuff with the toaster oven, and I was cooking something else, but I had tripped it and I automatically knew what happened. When I had first tripped it in our old RV, I didn't know what happened. I was freaking out. I was like, we have no electricity. What do I do? Of course, I hop onto this group and they're like, check your breaker and see if anything's flipped and switch it back up. And so that's what I did. And for this specific RV group, I can tell you that we would not have gotten very far in our RV journey without all those people and their support. It was truly a blessing being a part of that group, which I'm still a part of, but way more educated. Let's see. This was, oh yeah, when we got to that campground, we were super new at driving and towing an RV. So we had no idea how to even back it in. We actually had to have the campground owner, he just offered, and he was really nice, and he backed it in for us, and we were like, oh, that's how you do it. So I think we were just trying to do it in one foul swoop, and so he backed it up, pulled forward, backed it up, pulled forward, backed it up, pulled forward, kind of thing, and we're like, oh, okay. So that was another educational experience / we kind of felt like dummies, but he was really nice about it. He's like, don't worry about it. Everyone goes through a stage where they have to just learn stuff. So Thankfully, he was really nice about that. We have gotten lost several times driving. We do not have a GPS. We only have an atlas that we drive by, and so I don't know what the deal is, but I think it's like less than 3 or 4 times that we've gotten lost. But it is not fun, because we ended up once on a country road and it was so difficult to pull back in and out to go back on the right road. So we possibly may buy an RV GPS. I don't know. Those things are really expensive. Let's see. We have driven through a small town. This is with our old trailer. Driven through a small town on accident. We had passed the sign that said truck route this way. Instead, we accidentally went straight, which led us to the town square, and the town square was very small, and we ended up making a right turn, which was awful. It was so awful. We tried to go slow, but there was traffic on the other side, so we just did the best we could. Anyways, we hit the curb, of course, but not only did we hit the curb, our trailer drove over a flight of stairs. So there was that. We got yelled at by people who came out of that building and were yelling at us, and all I could do was say I'm sorry, and I didn't know what to do, because I was so stressed out at that point because we took the wrong turn and there was no way to get back around to the truck route besides going to the square. So that was awful, but another lesson learned. We kind of are a bit more familiar when it comes to small towns on looking ahead and looking for truck route signs and looking to see if we can fit in a position. But you know, this trailer is only 28 feet, so it's a lot smaller than 36 foot, and we are way more comfortable driving this rig than our old 36 foot rig. Now with, let's see, in our old fridge, our old fridge in the old RV, our refrigerator somehow would just always have ice buildup in it, and we didn't know how to defrost it. And that happened frequently. I think that there was actually something wrong with that fridge when it came to cooling and stuff like that. So we had to learn how to defrost that kind of fridge, which was a huge lesson that we had to do so often. So I hated that refrigerator. We haven't had to defrost this fridge yet once, and it's been 4 months, so that's really nice. Anyways, in the new RV, this one, the mistakes that we have made have not been that many, thank goodness. But as you guys know, our composting toilet wouldn't fit into this trailer, so unfortunately we could not bring it into this RV, and so we're using an actual RV toilet, and so which means we're using the black tank. Now we're very uneducated about black tank because we never took the time to even learn about it, because we had a composting toilet and we didn't care because that didn't pertain to us. So when it came to getting this RV, we had the sewage hooked up, and like our gray tank, we left the black tank open all the time. So black and gray were open all the time. And I know that some of you guys are like, ew, that's disgusting, gross, I can't believe you did that, and that is so wrong, and that is not how you do it. How could you not get educated on how to deal with your black tank? Yeah, I know, it's a mistake. So, and this whole video is about stupid mistakes that we've made. Anyways, we drive on our way to California, and we have to dump our tank because it's full, and we go to a dump station and we have no clue how to dump at a dump station. So thankfully we have reliable Wi-Fi, and so I was on YouTube just looking up how to do it, and I didn't have gloves. It ended up getting on my hand because the fitting somehow on our sewage hose had broken and wouldn't fit onto the sewage in the ground. So it was just a mess, and it was a horrible, stinky experience, and I really, really missed my composting toilet at that point in time. I'm okay now, and it's fine. We're like pros at dealing with the black tank now, but yeah, major lesson learned on how to treat your black tank and what to do in those situations. Let's see, we have one slide, and in our old trailer we didn't have any slides. So just like a couple of times we have accidentally tried to open our slide with the braces in, and I mean, it doesn't get very far. Immediately we're like, we know we made a mistake. So that's something that we have done that is not very bright. And the last thing that we have done in this trailer is we did not crank up the back jacks all the way, and I think we cranked them up a little over halfway or something like that, but we ended up traveling, and we took the trailer to go to a Walmart, and we had to hit a speed bump, and we hit that speed bump with our back jacks, and it bent them. And we knew something was wrong immediately, and so whenever we parked, we saw it and we were like, oh crap, we did not jack those up all the way. So lesson learned on that: always crank your jacks up all of the way. So we've only made 3, I guess, mistakes in this new RV, and that is just the black tank stuff, the slides, and the back jacks. But we are far more educated on how to live in an RV and deal with the electrical and deal with all the stuff that comes with it. But don't judge us on the past mistakes we've made. We have learned from them, and yes, some of them were dangerous, but those are done and over with. And thankfully we had a really huge online support group for rooting for us to get things right and to get everything under control and learn about stuff. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and maybe get a little laugh about it. I don't know. So I'm sure I'm gonna hear a lot of people in the feedback tell me how stupid we were about situations, but it's okay. We know that we were stupid in those situations, and we know we should have been educated. Hopefully, if you are looking into this lifestyle, you will also remember to look in how to actually run an RV and learn how everything works. So anyways, that is our 1 year nomadaversary and all the stupid mistakes we've made. Thanks for watching, guys.